If you've ever visited a standard jungle temple in Minecraft before, you probably know how unexciting it can feel. The traps are not really all that dangerous, and in the late game the loot is not very special either. For today's video I wanted to spice up jungle temples and make them feel extremely exciting. For this purpose I joined forces with the amazing GeminiTay, and together we created a gigantic jungle temple with tons of different traps and puzzles. On her channel you will find a video where she shows you exactly how she built the actual temple, and in my video I'm gonna go through the process of how I created all the traps and different mechanics to spice up the build. Make sure to visit the link in the description because you don't want to miss her video. The finished product we created almost plays like a mini adventure map, so if you want to experience it all for yourself you can find the world download on my website linked below. The creation process started off with a bunch of planning. I started a void world and began wireframing a temple. There were 3 rooms I wanted to fill with puzzles and challenges, while the last one could only be unlocked by completing the first 2. I put down a bunch of signs to explain my plans and then sent the map over to GeminiTay. A few days later she sent me an amazing jungle temple with the exact layout I had prepared. Now that her part of this project was finished, I took out my command blocks and got to work as well. For the challenges to even make sense, I first of all had to trap players in the temple as soon as they entered. The most primitive way to do that would be using a fill command that is triggered by pressure plates or tripwires inside. Problem number 1 is that those components could be detected and the closing door would therefore not be a surprise anymore. Secondly, random blocks appearing out of nowhere is really boring, and doing things the easy way is not what this channel is about. So instead I created a sliding door mechanic that is automatically triggered whenever a player enters the temple. As soon as the sound effects start playing behind them, they will probably turn around and still see how the door closes and traps them inside. This is just so much more dramatic and creates a lot of suspense right in the beginning. If you're wondering how I achieved this effect, it's the same answer as always: armor stands. I basically created a custom block model that covers exactly one half of the wall and put it on the head of an armor stand. As soon as the player enters, a scoreboard timer is started, 2 armor stands summoned, gradually teleported to the center, and finally replaced with actual blocks. Really simple, but makes a massive difference, I think. So far there's not really an incentive to enter though, which obviously needed to change. At first I was thinking about just putting a bunch of diamonds or nether stars into a chest. That felt kinda boring though, and I thought that a new item would be cool that could only be obtained by raiding various temples, for example. Since I wanted to put my focus on the actual build instead of the treasure, I opted for a simple retexture and added rubies to my resource pack. Similar to a lot of movies, I also wanted players to make a sacrifice in order to obtain it. The 2 quartz pillars serve exactly this purpose, and when the correct items are placed on top, the ruby will spawn. And which item does every map maker use when it comes to spawning things? That's right, nether stars. Just plop 2 of them onto the altars and observe. In case you didn't bring nether stars, there's only one way out. Yep, you guessed it. Drown yourself in the water. If you now right click to take the ruby, you completed your mission and are free to go. Except you're not. As soon as you pick it up, a gigantic boulder will fall from the ceiling and roll toward the exit. There are 2 new corridors unlocked, but no matter which one you take, the boulder will detect it and chase you down. If it catches up to you, you're dead. If you try to wait it out, you're dead. And even going straight does not keep you safe, so either you run or you die. If you fail, no worries though, the temple will automatically reset and you can just try again. Every single attempt costs you 2 nether stars though, so I'd kinda recommend staying alive. Hopefully you successfully avoided your death. But what next? There are basically 2 new challenges you have to complete in order to unlock the 2nd floor and ultimately escape. For challenge number 1, all you need to do is get to the other side and press the button. I created a pretty cool vine swinging mechanic to make this more interesting, instead of, turning it into just another parkour map. Using these special vines is really simple, just press shift to hold onto them and you will swing back and forth. You can even change your swinging angle by looking into certain directions. For the first jump, going straight does not lead anywhere. So just look right until the vine adjusted properly and you can reach the andesite pillar. When letting go of shift, you will receive a little forward boost, so to gain some height and therefore make the jump, you need to look slightly upwards. If you now press the button, a second pillar will rise from the ground. Using the second vine as well as the new pillar allows you to finally reach the other side and press the button. To create this mechanic, I basically used a function I already showcased in another video that is able to gradually rotate the head of an armor stand. I spawned another dummy armor stand that I teleported to the bottom of the vine with local coordinates and basically just teleported the player there whenever he pressed shift. Congratulations if you made it till here, only 2 more puzzles to go. In the room on the exact other side, there are a bunch of walls blocking your way. All the levers you can find will toggle one or more of these doors. The end goal is basically to get to the chamber all the way in the back and once again press the button. I'm not gonna tell you the solution, but if you play around with it for a bit and figure out the system behind it, you shouldn't have too much trouble completing this challenge. For this mechanic I used a very similar system to the sliding door, but the armor stands are now going up and down instead of sideways. Once you manage to press both buttons, a ladder will drop from the ceiling in the middle corridor and grant you access to the second floor. In this newly unlocked room you will find a bunch of these mirrors everywhere and 2 laser beams coming out of the walls. Your goal is basically to lead one of them into the gold blocks in the center. This can be achieved by rotating the mirrors so they reflect the laser beams all around the room. You can left and right click them and they will rotate in 22.5 degree increments. You will also find some emerald and lapis blocks on the walls. As soon as they receive a laser input, it will drop the according cage and therefore give you access to yet another mirror. Spoiler alert for those of you who want to solve it on their own. I'm gonna reveal the solution and the reason why things are placed the way that they are. I actually didn't just throw the mirrors around randomly. There are very few particular things I did to make the puzzle more challenging. If you look at the laser beam on the right side, you'll notice that there is exactly one other mirror it can reach after the first reflection. If you make the beam go left from there, you will be blocked by the emerald cage. So the next option you might try is to direct it at the wall, which in turn unlocks the previously blocked mirror. The thing is that only this beam can reach the end goal, so using it to retract the cage prevents you from ever completing the puzzle. I intentionally made this path super obvious so that players would fall for the trap. The correct way is to use the beam on the left side to unlock the emerald mirror and then use the other one to reach the gold blocks in the middle. The lapis cage is just a bait by the way and doesn't even work. When creating this mechanic I started out by just making the laser beam work properly. Every few seconds I spawn an armor stand at the wall with a certain rotation. For the mirrors I simply used banners and then executed from the laser armor stand to detect which banner exactly it hit. Depending on the banner's rotation, I then executed another function which then changed the armor stand's rotation so that it would move forward into a different direction. After that was working, I then created a custom mirror model and made sure that it overlapped exactly with the banner underneath. From there it was just playing around with the different configurations until I had a challenging result I was happy with. Once you complete this puzzle, the main door will open up again and you can exit. In case you want to do the whole thing a second time, you can press the button near the spawn point to manually reset the entire map. And that's pretty much it. If you want to download the map, the link is in the description, and also don't forget to watch GeminiTay's video. I personally really enjoyed working on this project, especially with such a talented builder on my side, and I think the end result turned out extremely cool. I hope you guys had fun with the video as well, and can't wait to share more projects with you in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.